who knows where I'd be without boxing. So that's why my goal has always been to give everything I can back to this sport and to help others, because I love this sport.
All that stuff he just said don't mean shit. You never drew 100 million people or 70 million people to the fight, have you?
Around like 75 million.
You never helped boxing before. Boxing helped you.
But that's what the sport needed.
Fight.
No way. Bro, like, shut up.
In an unexpected manner, Jake Paul attempted to call off their battle because he was afraid of the legendary boxer, as Mike Tyson recently revealed. Roy Jones Jr. just used a vivid analogy to describe how Tyson's body strikes would feel like a donkey crushing his chest. His analysis of Mike Tyson's punching ability and how it would affect Jake provides an interesting viewpoint on the impending fight. Given that Jones is an accomplished boxer who has squared up against Tyson in the ring, his evaluation is highly respected in the boxing world. Boxing great Shane Mosley was informed by Jones Jr. that Mike Tyson was still the strongest puncher he had ever faced in the ring. It felt like a mule had booted me in the chest the first time he struck me there. Jones's account of Tyson's strength vividly illustrates the force with which his punches are delivered. He compares being struck by Tyson to being kicked by a mule, highlighting the tremendous impact that Tyson's strength has on his opponents. This first-hand account attests to Tyson's unmatched punching power, which has made a lasting impression on everyone he has met. Jones continued, Jake Paul will face a formidable challenge in the ring given Tyson's ability to incapacitate or floor any opponent with a single punch. Those who are not accustomed to being hit in such a way will either go down or get knocked out if he hits someone with a shot like that. Paul doesn't have the experience or resiliency to withstand Tyson's brutal blows, unlike veteran heavyweight champions like Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. When Jones compares Paul to heavyweight titans like Holyfield and Lewis, it's clear that Paul lacks the experience and conditioning of more seasoned fighters, whereas Holyfield and Lewis are more resilient against Tyson's strikes. Due to his relative inexperience and lack of conditioning, Paul may be more susceptible to Tyson's powerful punches. Jones went on to say that while fighters like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield are bigger and stronger than Jake Paul, I don't think he's going to be able to handle it. It might come as a blow to the chin, we'll see, but it's going to be difficult for him. Given Jones's evaluation, it's certain that Paul will have a difficult time defeating Tyson. Paul faces an intimidating task as he prepares to take on Tyson's fists, which Jones compares to being attacked by a mule. As a result, Jones's observations serve as a sobering reminder of Paul's difficult assignment when he steps into the ring with Tyson. As a way to draw attention to his next fight, Alexander Usyk provided a critical assessment of Jake Paul. In an interesting video segment, Tyson Fury Usyk played a word association game. When given different terms or names in this fascinating video, the Ukrainian answered quickly with one or two word associations. One of the names that was brought up was Jake Paul, and Usyk's answer was to cease boxing. Paul needs some stern advice as he attempts to juggle his career as a professional boxer with his work as an internet influencer. As a former UFC champion with a wealth of expertise in combat sports, Bourt can be counted among those who are stepping away from the upcoming boxing battle between Mike and Jake. Within the boxing fraternity, Belfort's observations are respected, and his claim that 16-ounce gloves are usually only used during sparring sessions in order to protect fighters casts doubt on the validity of the Tyson-Paul fight. Belfort contends that the use of larger gloves that is customary in sparring signals that this may not be a genuine professional bout, but rather an exhibition of skill. Fighters Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will engage in a live sparring bout on Netflix, earning millions of dollars by portraying the event as a live sparring match, according to Belfort, who stated that 16-0 gloves are only used in sparring to protect fighters. Bourt suggests that rather than sincere competition, the main goals might be money gain and amusement. Lennox Lewis believes Mike Tyson, at the age of 57, is still a formidable opponent for Jake, but the fact that Tyson and Paul stand to gain millions of dollars from what is effectively a glorified sparring session raises ethical and athletic integrity concerns. As one of the most renowned individuals in boxing history and a former undisputed heavyweight champion, Paul Lennox Lewis' viewpoint on the impending fight provides a sophisticated understanding of Tyson's talents despite his advanced years. Lewis's research is a highly reliable source. Lewis notes that although Tyson is older, his strength and talent are not diminished by his age. Even though Tyson is 57 years old and may not be as physically strong as he was in his peak, his strength and fighting instincts are still quite strong. Lewis characterizes Tyson as two-dimensional, emphasizing his brutal style of boxing that centers on taking out opponents.
Tyson, he's fighting Jake Paul. You know this man well. What are your expectations for that big fight?
Mike Tyson is two-dimensional. He's going to come at you, trying to knock you out. You got to try and stay away from him. Stay away from his power.
Lewis gives Jake Paul some important tips, one of which is to stay away from Tyson's big blows and to not confront him head-on. Paul needs to focus on strategy and defensive tactics because of Tyson's deadly combinations, which can be shown in recent training footage. Lewis notes that Tyson is still a real threat in the ring. Despite his advanced age, Tyson is a difficult opponent for anyone, including Jake, because of his experience, striking strength, and fortitude. Paul Lewis's evaluation serves as a reminder that Tyson is a renowned fighter who will always be respected and that it would be a grave error to underestimate him.
Working out the other day, and he throws some good combinations. Make sure that he's not in the way of those punches. Tyson's a real fighter.
He's 57 years young. He still got it. He still got it in his eye.
Oh yeah, Tyson can throw a punch. He can take a punch. He's doing something that he's used to.
As a whole, Lewis' perspective emphasizes how important it is for both fighters to plan and prepare before the fight. Even if Paul may have youth on his side, it is impossible to ignore Tyson's experience and punching strength. The dynamics of skill versus age will certainly add intrigue to the fight, and Lewis's insights will provide a valuable perspective to the discussion. However, Iron Mike, who was once hailed as the undisputed champion of the boxing world, is now facing doubt as he gets ready to face a much younger opponent. Pundits are unsure whether the former knockout master can maintain as the odds makers at DraftKings Sportsbook set Jake Paul as a -170 favorite against the famed pugilistic fighter at +130, which paces the odds to reflect the general attitude of certainty. The current odds indicate that betting on the 27-year-old as an underdog will yield a return of $158.82. While betting on Tyson will yield a more alluring payout of $230 for the same stake. Meanwhile, Los Angeles Clippers player Paul George discussed the hype around the impending showdown in a recent episode of his podcast, Podcast P with Paul George. Paul George and his fellow hosts had a heated debate over the upcoming clash before he revealed his prediction for the game. PG declared, "I'm not opposing Iron Mike. I'm not opposing Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is one of those individuals who, when you see his name, makes you want to vote for him. I'm going for Mike Tyson because of the two boxers' alarming age difference, but Paul George is adamant that age shouldn't be a factor. He stated, I don't care about the age gap because he is actually fighting a boxer, not an MMA guy, a wrestler, or an entertainer. No matter how old Gap is, he's going up against a boxer. Jake Paul often receives criticism for his decision to compete against former mixed martial artists and other celebrities rather than actual boxers. George expressed similar thoughts prior to finally choosing Tyson as his opponent. The NBA player went on to talk about Tyson's opponent and his dedication to the sport. He then inquired as to Jake Paul's strategy in trying to become a legitimate boxer. The panel discussed Paul's intelligence and his future potential in this sport. They also noted that the boxer was competing mostly for money gain. Nevertheless, they recommended Paul to start facing more difficult opponents if he wished to stay in the sport after hanging up his gloves. Mike Tyson, who is still well known in the media and entertainment industries in 2022, wasn't shy about criticizing Jake Paul's fighting technique. In fact, he even hinted that Paul may return to the ring if he were in peak physical form at the time. Tyson stated, "At 55, I can see that coming a mile away, and I would beat these punches that you can see coming a mile away." Jake Paul's raw power and aggressive fighting style are highlighted by Tyson's assessment of his punches as telegraphed and easily readable, which highlights his deep understanding of boxing technique and strategy. Tyson also expresses confidence in his ability to defeat the Paul brothers without resorting to traditional boxing tactics. The former heavyweight champions claim that his inherent talent and athleticism allow him to defeat opponents without boxing instruction is impressive. Although Tyson's remarks may be perceived by some as bold or provocative, they highlight his unwavering self-confidence and passion for the sport that defined his career. His belief in his own abilities combined with his legendary status in the sport lend weight to his remarks and fuel speculation about what a potential comeback could entail. He added, "I'd go straight at them. There would be no boxing. The only thing I have to do is be in shape. 30 days of boxing training every day, and I can fight anyone if I'm boxing every day. I wouldn't even have to worry about my diet." It is unclear if Tyson will decide to follow through on his statements and return to the ring, but his influence in the boxing world is still felt, influencing discussions and capturing the interest of fans everywhere. Fans and experts alike are looking forward to sharing their predictions for the upcoming conflict. The seasoned boxing pundit and former champion Timothy Bradley radiates confidence in Tyson's impending triumph. Bradley emphasizes how Tyson's powerful frame and wealth of experience are important components in his knockout prediction. He also highlights how the fight's design works to the heavyweight champion's advantage. Bradley stated, "Mike Tyson, knocked out, baby, that's possible. 2 minutes will work in your favor." The next fight will feature 8 rounds, each lasting 2 minutes, though Polymalogy expressed concerns about the fighter's age difference. Mike Tyson has the ability to knock this man out by body banging him and hitting him with power shots. The power is the last thing that will leave you. A few weeks before the fight, Bradley expressed his confidence that Tyson would easily defeat Paul, but he also expressed his desire to watch the man suffer. Bradley also feels that Paul is frequently underestimated, stating that the YouTuber turned boxer is more dangerous than anyone is giving him credit for. Tyson, who was once called the world's deadliest man, will turn 58 on April 20. Conversely, Paul turned 27 this year and lost by TKO to Kevin McBride in 2005. While Tyson hasn't engaged in any professional fighting since July 2020, he did take part in an exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. In a statement released in March, he stated that he was eager to fight Paul. However, Mike Tyson has begged Jake Paul not to back out of their epic battle. Tyson stated, "I'm very much looking forward to stepping into the ring with Jake Paul. He's grown significantly as a boxer over the years, so it will be a lot of fun to see what the will and ambition of a kid can do with the experience and aptitude of a GOAT." When Tyson and Damon Elliott recently spoke about Tyson's impending fight, the host advised Paul to reconsider entering the ring. The conversation takes on a serious tone as Elliott warns Paul about Tyson's power based on his own experience. His memories of Tyson's intimidating presence when they were younger and the long-lasting effects it had on him serve as a warning that Paul should take into account. Tyson's lighthearted advice for Paul to ignore Elliott's counsel is reminiscent of the lighthearted banter that frequently occurs before well-known boxing contests. Tyson's impassioned, sometimes humorous plea highlights his excitement to participate in the show and his self-assurance. "Go your way, I'll go mine, Jake. Don't do it. Jake, please don't pay attention to him. Please, Jake, ignore him. This is my since he slapped me when I was 14 years old. I've known Mike, and my face has never been the same." In the end, Tyson's request serves as a reminder of the intricate dynamics at work as well as the suspense and intrigue surrounding the battle. During the same interview, Tyson surprised Elliott by revealing that he is consuming raw meat to support his boxing comeback in the combat sports industry. Shocked by Tyson's revelation, Elliott couldn't help but be impressed by his well-defined body and couldn't resist finding out more about his unusual eating patterns. "Raw meat, I'm going to have to eat it now, because my opponent is going to be raw meat," was Tyson's cryptic statement. While everything is going on, Paul is also getting stronger in preparation for the ultimate showdown, hoping to match Tyson's powerful 220 pounds frame from his time as the undisputed heavyweight world champion. Paul enjoys a feast of hamburgers and steaks. Aiming to achieve Anthony Joshua's weight before starting the final cut, Jake Paul recently discussed on his podcast how he prepared for his upcoming fight in an unusual way. The YouTuber turned boxer disclosed how he consumed a lot of food to help him gain weight and how he planned to achieve a weight that was much higher than his normal fighting range. Paul chose to put on weight, going from his usual fighting weight of 200 lbs to almost 240 lbs. It may surprise some, but he clarified that he feels his body can manage the extra weight and that he is getting stronger as a consequence. "It seems strange to me that I weigh 230, and it turns out my body carries this weight extremely well." Paul says that one of the main reasons for this weight gain strategy is to improve his speed and agility. "This is because normally I fight at around 200. and I walk around at around 210. The lowest you ever fought was at 185. He plans to gain muscular mass and endurance during training once he starts the process of losing weight in preparation for the fight. He feels that this will lead to better performance after he eventually loses the extra weight. Paul's analogy of wearing a weight vest throughout training highlights his intention to use the increased weight as a training tool to enhance his physical conditioning. He views the temporary weight gain as an opportunity to build strength and stamina, which he anticipates will give him a competitive edge once he returns to his usual fighting weight. This approach represents a calculated risk on Jake Paul's part as it deviates from traditional training methods typically employed by professional boxers. However, his confidence in his ability to adapt to the extra weight and subsequently capitalize on its training benefits underscores his determination to maximize his performance in the upcoming bout. And I'm only growing, like I think I'll get up to 240 and then probably cut downs. So I'm like way faster, but if I'm training for this camp ride hasn't started yet. But if I'm training for this camp at 240 and then I cut down to 220, it's basically like I had a 20 pounds weight vest on for the whole entire camp. As Jake continues his preparations for the fight, his unorthodox training regimen and commitment to pushing the boundaries of conventional boxing preparation will undoubtedly be closely scrutinized by fans and observers alike. Meanwhile, Mike and Jake have been intensifying their verbal sparring and intense training videos directed at each other. Jake just declared that he had higher objectives for the fight. Jake declared, "It's an honor to be in the ring with Mike, and I love and respect him very much, but I have to end him. It's wartime." The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation approved the rules governing the impending fight. This fight has been officially recognized as a professional boxing spectacle, signaling that the rounds will be shortened and the gloves beefed up for added punch. All is fair and love in war. I love the guy, but as soon as it turned into a pro fight, one of us has to die. This will be a professional fight with a referee, judges, and the results will count as part of the fighter's professional records, according to an agency spokesperson who spoke with the Associated Press. In the midst of it all, prominent UFC figure Conor McGregor has unambiguously expressed his opinion about the upcoming boxing match while speaking with James Corden on SiriusXM. "For me, it does establish a poor precedent in the industry because of what you have now, and I would say this to the young athletes coming up, men and women, don't aspire to be one of these YouTube fighters." McGregor may be open about whether the bout should go forward as planned. While engaging in small-scale bouts to garner attention might garner some fans, McGregor stressed that he considered these endeavors to be meaningless and shallow. He also noted that although these fights may result in financial gains, they ultimately lack substance. John Fury expressed his surprise at this trend as well. At the decision of Tyson to face Jake Paul, the well-known boxer World Fury Sr. has consistently challenged Tyson, even holding in-person meetings like the one they had during his son Tommy Fury's fight with Paul last year. Speaking to Seconds Out, John Fury noted that he and Tyson are similar in age and expressed surprise at Tyson's preference for a fight against Jake Paul. He also mentioned that even His Excellency Turki Alik was surprised by Tyson's unwillingness to fight him. "You know what's hell wrong with him? I don't even know," he said to me. "I'm shocked, Mike Tyson, and like I'm shocked myself. I'll tell you what has to happen. Gypsy King's father needs to acknowledge that he's facing the middleweight rather than me." Fury went on to say that Tyson chose to fight a middleweight instead of himself, and that he was prepared to take on any opponent without hesitation. Fury emphasized the need for just compensation for his abilities. He acknowledged that boxing carries inherent risks, including the possibility of death, but he expressed his willingness to take those risks for the right opportunity, which he saw as a matchup with Mike Tyson. "Baby, what worth it? Can't you listen? I'm willing to risk my life for the right fight," Fury said, and the right fight is with Mike Tyson. In the end, the fight between Tyson and Paul is more than just a sporting match. It's a representation of how modern athletic ability, social media influence, and celebrity culture come together. As the countdown to the fight approaches, everyone is excited to see the spectacle that will take place in the ring as two very different characters battle it out for victory and a spot in boxing history. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to watch some of our other videos on the screen.